The leadership crisis in Ondo State is yet to abate. The latest is a court order by Ondo State High Court sitting in Akure, which on Wednesday granted leave to applicants in a suit seeking an order of mandamus to compel the House of Assembly and the Speaker to constitute a medical panel to assess Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's health status. The suit brought before the court by Olufemi Lawson, Isijola Kike, Ologun Ayodeji and Arobo Olaniyi underscores the paramount importance of upholding public trust and ensuring transparency by elected officials. The call for a medical panel seeks to provide clarity on Governor Akeredolu's health, having been away from the state for nearly 6 months. Meanwhile, Ondo State government has described the allegation of forging Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's signature being raised by senior advocate of Nigeria, Kayode Ademola, as in their quote, utterly preposterous and ludicrous, stemming solely from the figment of their imagination, end of quote. Joining us now on the morning show is Ondo State's Commissioner for Information and Orientation and former Commissioner for Regional Integration and Diaspora Relations, Ondo State. Good morning, madam, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Commissioner, my name is Bamidele Ademola-Olateju.
Thank you very much.
Well, good to have you here. Well, you have issued many statements in which you were saying that Governor Akeredolu is alive and that he has been signing memos and giving instructions. But Kayode Ademola was just mentioned, was on this program. And other people who have been on this program, they say that Governor Akeredolu is missing. Nobody has seen him since he returned from medical treatment abroad, and there's all that controversy. So where is he? And is he still working from a remote, unknown location? You are the Commissioner for Information. Tell us, before we get to this order of mandamus that the court has issued.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. Number one, Kayode Ademola, SAN, is an indigenous of Ondo State, but he's a non-state actor. Kayode Ademola cannot say categorically because what obtains in government, because he doesn't serve the people of Ondo State in any capacity within public service. Other executive members, or whoever serves in the government of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, SAN, is the one that is competent to say where and what is going on in Ondo State. I would like to reiterate here, right now, that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is still performing his duties. What he is not doing is attending funerals, weddings, having courtesy visits. I particularly sent 2 files to him 2 weeks ago. He came back. He approved it. So I don't know where all this is coming from. I think people are just using extra-legal means to, by political gladiators to force themselves to be in the reckoning before the 2024 elections. And that is unfortunate. We cannot burn down the state because of the ambitions of someone or a group of people.
All right, okay, so Mrs. Olateju, let's talk about the memo you said you sent to the governor and that he came. When you say he came down, did he come to Ondo State to sign it?
No, I said the memo came back. What happens now is that if we have, the way it is, as a commissioner, for example, my approval limit is ₦1 million. I can't approve anything more than ₦1 million. The governor cannot approve anything more than 20 million. That is what it is. If it's more than 20 million, he has to bring it to the ESCO. We deliberate on it, approve as need be. Now, for me, if I need anything more than 1 million, I have to send it to the governor within the governor's approval limit. So I needed something to be done this December. 2 things, running into some millions under over my approval limit, within the governor's approval limit. So we keep all the files and send it to him in Ibadan.
Oh, okay, so the governor is in Ibadan.
The governor is
why is he in Ibadan and not in his state where he's governor?
Good question. The governor is still recuperating. The governor has gone through the furnace of a very bad illness. And right now, I can't come here and lie I know Nigerians are watching, that the governor can run, the governor can play tennis. That is not true. The governor is still recuperating, but his psychomotor skills, affective skills, and cognitive skills are still intact. But he's not as strong as he was in the past. That is what is happening now.
I just need to ask about that signature, because you're disputing what Mr. Bamidele Ademola-Olateju said or asserted, that some people are forging the governor's signature. But you're here to authoritatively say that no one is forging the governor's.
Authoritatively.
Yeah, so hold on. Now, when you say the governor signed the memo, you didn't see the governor sign the memo. You just sent a memo to Ibadan. The memo came back signed.
Good.
So what is the authority that you have? And you talked about the fact that his health has been impacted. What authority do you have? When you have meetings, does he appear on video, at least 4 council members, to ascertain the state of his health and well-being? And then how can you authoritatively say he signed it if there's no proof, you just sent something to Ibadan, it came back signed?
Good. Let me answer the signature part first. That memo I sent to him is not the first time he will sign a document for me. He's been signing documents for me since I was appointed in 2021 December. So I know what his signature looks like. The signature is still the same. You see that thing on social media, I don't know if you saw it. They said this is the original, this is fake. And nothing else was shown. No date was shown. The document was not shown. So I'm not a lawyer, so I have to be careful certain things I say so I don't appear so ignorant. One, if you want to say a document is forged, let us see the entire document. The forged document, the forged signature, let's see who submitted the memo that the governor signed. And the one that was signed, who collected the money and what was it signed for? Let us see what you purport to be the original and the fake. Let us see it. You know, people can be mischievous. Somebody can just scribble something and put the original and say, oh, the governor signed this. Let us see it. Show us both documents. Because it's the person who owns the signature that can say, this is not my signature. We are familiar with the governor's signature. Nobody should come and bamboozle us that, oh, this is what is going on. And when you talk about meetings, we had an executive council meeting last Thursday, presided over by the deputy governor. When in ESCO meetings, we have the chairman. We don't call him governor there. We have the chairman. We have the vice chairman. So when the chairman is not around, this is not the first time. The vice chairman preside over ESCO meetings. That's it.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you this. Number one, when last did you see the governor?
I saw the governor last September 8th.
September 8th this
yes,
year?
But I spoke to the governor 2 weeks ago.
You saw the governor last September 8th?
When he came...
Where did you see him?
In Ibadan. When he came back, when he came back, he invited executive council members, he invited all the State House of Assembly members, he invited the party structure, the hierarchy, the state working committee.
Okay, so you saw him last September 8th when he came back?
Yes.
But you said you spoke to him on the phone 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Why haven't you seen him since that time again? Since he's still working, signing documents like
because there's no reason for me to see him.
So, I mean, if you want to go get a document approved and discuss with him, you can't go to Ibadan.
It's the SSG that does that. It's not me.
So why can't you do that?
Because it's not my job to do that. The SSG presides over cabinet members.
Have you tried calling him recently again? Just to check on him and say, oh, I just want to check on you, how your health doing since 2 weeks ago?
No, there wasn't any reason for me to call him since 2 weeks ago. When I called him, it's because I wanted him to explain to him what was in my memo.
When did the governor preside over an executive council meeting last in the States? That you saw him physically, that he sat and presided over?
That was in May.
May this year?
Yes.
That was the last time he presided over?
Yes. And you will remember that in June, he transferred authority to his deputy governor and went to Germany. When he came back, we had that meeting on September 8th. Everybody.
Was the deputy governor in that meeting?
Yes. It's on record.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
The High Court now has given an order of mandamus, which means look, it must be obeyed. What is going to happen? What the court has ordered is more or less what Kayode Ajulo SAN was saying, that due process must be followed. What that court in Akure has done is to invoke Section 189 of the 1999 Constitution. That Section 189 says 2/3 of the members of the executive cabinet will resolve that the governor or the deputy governor is permanently incapable of continuing with the discharge of his functions. Now, would that cabinet, of which you are a member, make that resolution, obey the court of law, and then kickstart sub 2 of that section of the Constitution to now say that a medical panel should examine the state of health of the governor and submit a due report? Or would the cabinet counter the ruling of the court and maybe go on appeal? What is likely to happen?
Okay. First of all, I'm not a lawyer, so but I will explain it the way I understand it. One, what was granted, they filed an ex parte application. Ex parte itself means an outside party, an interested outside party. Now, what happened at the court? Our Attorney General released a statement on it yesterday. What happened? The court has to grant a leave. The court did not give them that order of mandamus. The court granted them leave to apply. As I'm talking to you now, the state government has not received anything. We've not been served, nor have we been heard in the process. When that happens, the medical panel, as I understand it as a layman, is the doctor of the governor or the party in which they want to, the medical panel, they want to constitute the medical panel on. The doctor has to say he is incapacitated. I just told you now.
No, the cabinet can say so under Section 1 of Section 189.
Okay, when it comes to our cabinet, we know that our governor is not incapacitated. Our governor still is not senile. Our governor can still move his hands and legs. Our governor is just not as strong. He can't play table tennis. He can't do sports. He can't jog. That is what we know. So, what this the extralegal ways these people are going about this is to just have a shortcut to the governorship seat. That is what is happening in Ondo State, and it's unfortunate.
Do you think that the governor's unfortunate state of incapacitation has hampered?
He's not incapacitated.
No, well, okay, let me use another word. Unfortunate state of health has hampered governance in Ondo State. I say this because, yes, you talk about taking memos to Ibadan, but the people of Ondo State, it feels almost as if there's been no firm leadership in the state. Because on one hand, there are tussles between, or disagreements at leadership level. So what then happens is that the people are suffering. What has there been any significant move, infrastructure, decisions made since May of this year or September on the governor's return? And can you detail some of these decisions that have been made, that have been taken out? And because it almost seems as if the only thing we talk about in Ondo State is the health of the governor, the political disagreements, going to Aso Rock to meet the leader of the party, solving issues, when the people of Ondo State have critical issues facing them. What are some of the things that have been done in terms of for the people since September?
Good question. Thank you so much for that. You see, since this thing started, coming from advocacy, I've been very disenchanted with the whole thing. One, this is needless, totally needless. If there were understanding and everything is working fine, then nobody will hear about this. This is just about ambition. This month alone, this December, the month of September, the governor approved 1 billion to pay gratuities owed since the Mimiko administration between 2011 and 2012. This, in November, the governor gave approval to pay 35,000 naira wage award in line with what the federal government has approved for workers in the state. We were working on our palliative program. Right now, school buses are running for free in all the local governments in the state. Shuttle boats are in the riverine areas for students to take them to and from school. We distributed food items. We are doing a whole lot. In Oyarubulem Junction, there's a massive flyover that is under construction. So many other infrastructural plans that the governor has put in place is ongoing, because the money has been earmarked, and if there are variations based on the current economic situation in the country, we just sit down, seek the variation in ESCO, and move forward. So much is going on in Ondo State, but the political noise has drowned everything because it's just based on ambition, and this is unfortunate. Governance is not a circus. Governance is not a joke.
Okay, ambition of who now? Is it Ayedatiwa's ambition that is causing all of this? That's number one question. Number two question will be, in Ondo State, you're saying what Mr. Akeredolu, SAN, said was wrong, right? Can you people challenge him in court if he's wrong? Because he also claimed that he's gotten forensic experts to look at the paper, and they're saying the signatures have been tampered with. Can you challenge him to court? Let's even see a court proceeding play out as regards, since you said, oh, what he said is wrong, can you challenge him to court as regards that? And thirdly, you said the governor came out of the furnace of a great disease. What disease? What's wrong with the governor? What's the nature of his illness?
The nature of governor's illness, I want to be very careful not to weaponize a personal pain.
I feel the pain. I feel sad about it.
I want to be very careful
for his quick recovery.
But what's
the nature of his illness?
I don't have the real facts because I've been very skittish to ask. But it's not a very good illness. I think it's a somatic problem. That's what
do you mean by that? I mean, it must have a name. What do you mean by that? What's the nature of what is going on with the guy? I mean, when he came back and said, I went for treatment, what did he say he went to treatment for?
He didn't tell us what he went for. He didn't tell us.
Do you know the illness?
I don't know the illness.
Why do you say it's a somatic illness if you don't know the illness?
Because looking at him, you know, Governor Akeredolu is a very jovial person. I'm sure you know him. He makes a joke out of everything. When I looked at him, having the experience that I have, I mean exposure, and with my age, with my education, I have a feeling that this must be a very terrible thing, because I know he's lost some weight. And one day he was joking that when he drinks water, he said, "Are you well?" After 40, nobody is well. So I know it must be something very, very bad that he's combating with.
So you're saying it's a somatic illness he has, and I pray for the quick recovery of the governor. Secondly, would you guys be willing to challenge Akeredolu?
I think the Attorney General is really looking at that, because he said he's gotten a forensic expert. Akeredolu is he's my friend, but I don't want to attack him. I think he he has some kind of aggressive nature when it comes to issues like this. In Ondo State, when things was going right, did we see Akeredolu? You see Kayode when in places where there are thieves, so he will just take a side and he won't listen. He takes a
side with thieves? Is that what you're saying?
No, thieves, T-I-F-F.
Okay.
When there's something like a thief.
Yeah.
That's Akeredolu will take his position and take a side. And that is not good for someone of his legal stature. I think someone who wants to be fair and balanced need to hear the other side. Akeredolu has not called anyone in government to find out what is the nature of this. Akeredolu is from Akoko and from Akoko. He's my friend. He sends me messages on WhatsApp. He hasn't called me as the Commissioner for Information to find out, Bamidele, what is going on. he hasn't. He just listened to one side and he took sides.
So you will be taking him to court on that because he says he has empirical proof. Forensic experts are
looking at it very carefully.
So you also bring your evidence real quickly. Ayedatiwa's ambition. You want to talk about that?
Ayedatiwa is the person who can talk about his own ambition, but you can see from what is going on, what is even public record, that he has gone to he has done this he has gone about it in a very bad way. Because if I were him, I will act differently. The governor sees Ayedatiwa before all these things degenerated as his son. Even everywhere he mentions Ayedatiwa as his person. I don't know when the trust broke down and things just went south. And since everything went south, he has gone about it the wrong way. His actions has polarized the ESCO. It has divided the state. When the peace was brokered in Aso Rock by our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I felt he will come back and rally the troops. So we face the issue of governance in Ondo State. But I don't know.
Well, Mr. Olateju.
Yes, sir.
I mean, don't let's make every weather out of Kayode Adeola's position. You can't frighten a lawyer with a threat to take a lawyer to the courtroom. If your AGF, your Attorney General wants to sue him, you will be glad to meet him in court. So that's not a big issue. Now, here, I read you. You know, you're a columnist, one of my favorites. I read you regularly.
Oh, thank you.
Now, if you were going to write on this, so I think you have a moral dilemma here. And the governor also has a moral dilemma. If you were to write a column on this, you probably won't take this line. You probably will be arguing for due process. And then the governor himself, a senior advocate of Nigeria, he was one of those people who argued when Governor Yaradua was appearing and disappearing, that look, he should give up the position. And now, Ilane Silk finds himself in a similar situation, and we are having this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. As an officer in the Temple of Justice, he should be the first person to defend the Constitution. To say, well, I don't feel too well. You said his sickness is of a somatic nature. So that means sickness relating to the nervous system, right? So
body.
Maybe the brain is not affected.
Body.
Yeah, maybe the spinal cord is not affected, but maybe the nervous system.
No, okay. Somatic means body.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand.
Well, I know you know.
I understand. But, you know, can you address this moral dilemma?
I have pondered on this a lot. When I used to write very well, I mean, constantly, I look at both sides of the issue. When I don't have sufficient information, I ask before I put myself out there. You see, the information I have about this case, because it's a personal issue, a personal health issue, it has tied my hand as an advocate, apart from being a politician now. And I have asked myself, how will I have dealt with this issue? You see, what is going on between Mr. Ayedatiwa, the deputy governor, and the governor is such that it's something, the Yoruba has a very fine way of couching it. If you have a friend of over 30 years, and you have a lot between the two of you, and there's now a fight, and in an effort to win the fight, you now say everything that has transpired between you. Yes, you will win. If you are in the right, you will win. But right-thinking people will say, okay, yeah, you are in the right, but should you have said all this? And it becomes an issue that the Yoruba people say, afifila perin, iye ojo kan lo mo. What has gone, because this is so personal to the two of them, it is so difficult to say it outside. But there's a supreme breakdown of trust between the two actors, the governor and the deputy. That is why it's so difficult for this thing to be resolved. For me, as a the moral dilemma that you spoke about, if I were to put this in the public space, I will interrogate what really went wrong. Why did the friendship break down? For now, the governor is not incapacitated. I still maintain it. He would have easily done the needful. Now that the peace was brokered in Nassau Villa, the governor and the executive council has kept their own side of the bargain. But we still see sponsored stories all over the place. Nobody has prevented Mr. Aiyedatiwa from discharging his duties as the deputy governor. Now, nobody. He wants to act for what? The governor is still alive. He's doing his job other than not appearing in the office or attending social events. That's what he's missing.
No, beyond attending social events, he's also not chairing the EXCO meetings from what you mentioned.
The deputy governor has the right.
Yes, he does. What I'm saying is that if the deputy governor is chairing or presiding over EXCO meetings and performing the functions of the governor currently, at least physically, what's the big deal or the big difference, following from what Dr. Bathia said, in line with the Constitution of giving him or putting him in acting capacity as governor? Why is it so difficult?
It's not difficult.
Because it seems as if that
the governor is still the governor.
Okay, so
he can carry out the duties of the
he's still the governor, but he's carrying out the duties of the governor. So he is acting as the governor.
But he cannot sign files. He cannot give approvals.
So that's the only thing he's
the
not...
governor
So
still give approvals. Because the governor still give approvals to all of us.
So aside the money aspect, he's doing every other thing.
He's doing every other thing. So no issue other than the heightened chatter on social media, on the internet. Everything else is working.
So that's what I'm saying. So the governor is performing only in the area of finance, just overseeing financial matters in Ondo State.
Not only financial matters, there are certain things that requires a written approval of the governor.
Like?
Not just money.
So certain things like, can you just explain for the benefit of our audience?
For the benefit of our viewers at home, look at the issue of the LCDA. It doesn't involve money. The local government administration appointing chairmen in acting capacity to the local governments and the new LCDAs. That one has no money involved. The governor approved it because the list has been drawn since September.
Okay, so let me just ask a question with regards to the court ruling. And it seems almost as if the Executive Council, the Attorney General, is reluctant to have an independent medical assessment of the governor's health. Why is this so? If you're certain that he's in excellent health to perform, in terms of being able to perform as governor, just the fact that he's not as strong as he used to be, why is there such a resistance? In fact, I don't think there ought to be a court order to do that, just for the sake of clarity.
That one just started last
week.
week.
Would you do it independent of a court order? Just to
There's no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it.
Just for the benefit of, just to, silence all voices like you mentioned, any sponsorship, just do the medical, release the medical results and let everyone, understand what's going on.
Unless the governor is incapacitated, there's no reason to evaluate his health.
But in one respect, you were very touchy when I asked about the nature of the illness. You just said somatic, and you said body loss, he's lost some weight, You're not ready to give out that information as regards. And you see, I personally feel for the governor, and I want him to get well. But you see, if he was private citizen Akeredolu, I wouldn't be talking to you about his health. But today he's the governor of Ondo State, and he's accountable to the people, millions of Ondo people watching. And that's why I kept on asking the question about his health. And his health can't be a private matter any longer, once he took that position as a governor. So you are touchy about the somatic issue, that's what you called it. That means somatic talks about the body.
Yes.
That means the body is greatly affected, because if he can't come out, he can't act, he can't be in Ondo State, then the body is affected, probably mobility is affected, probably all of...
Mobility is not affected.
So why can't he be in Ondo State?
When you talk about...
And are you sure, I want you to check back, are you sure you don't know the nature of the governor's illness? Honestly. Are you sure?
You see,
Do we have to get a Bible?
Are you sure?
Put you on hold to
Are you
tell us
sure
the truth and nothing but the truth.
You don't know the nature of the governor's illness. And he never told you, this was what I went to do in Germany when he spoke to you people, his inner cabinet. He never said anything. Are you sure?
Coming from where Dr. Abati got me, you know, this has to do with privacy. I understand where you are coming from. I think it's only Dr. Akeredolu. I respect the issue of privacy a lot. There are certain things that I know because of privacy reasons that I will not disclose in public.
So you know the nature of the business, but for privacy reasons you will not.
It is up to
Yes.
Governor Akeredolu to say, my people, this is what it is. This is what I'm battling with. You see, when it comes to expression, things are changing. Governor Akeredolu belongs to a different generation. There are some of our children out there who are more expressive about the things they have, the things they do, and even someone like me, you know, I'm a bit more visceral. I will discuss some things, but people of my father's generation or a little younger, they don't share those perspectives. So I think it is up to him to disclose to the people of the state. The people of the state, to be candid, have been very supportive. Indeed, Nigeria has been very supportive and kind and gracious to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Maybe one of these days he will put it out. I will let him know that this is a concern. While on this show that you pressed me for it, maybe he can come out. But for privacy reasons, even if I know, I wouldn't tell. I think it's up to him to disclose for himself what...
the rule is that people who are in the public space, they have very limited claim to privacy.
Yes,
the principle in law is voluntae non fit injuria. That is, if you don't like heat, don't go near the kitchen. Once you go near the kitchen, be ready for the heat. Now, you talked about the people of Ondo State being very supportive. But in the same Ondo State, members of the PDP and other stakeholders have threatened that they will take over government house if Governor Akeredolu does not show up. That the seat of government is in Ondo State, not in Oyo State. And I cannot be running the state via DHL. Now, secondly, leaders of thought in Ondo State have also intervened. They've issued a statement saying that, look, due process must be followed. I think one of them, I saw a piece by somebody, that's an article, who said, you spoke Yoruba earlier on, that Onirese, so, I mean, even if he lets go, the good deeds that he has done, you know, would still be there. People will remember. But this idea of seatitism, despite the circumstances, is what people are concerned about. So the people of Ondo State, they are not unanimous in supporting what is going on.
Yeah, what I mean is, the people of the state, while he was away, and even now, are still praying very hard for him to recover. They have been very supportive in that regard. The people of the state are not the politicians. We have to be very careful about that. You know, politicians, we want to take advantage of any crisis, any little issue that arises from the seat of government. So the PDP is doing what the PDP should do. They are in opposition. They should hold our feet to the fire. I understand that. But what I'm here to say and reiterate to the public is that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is not incapacitated. Yes, yet he's not as fit as he used to be. And the deputy governor can deputize. That is what deputy governors do. You know, Dr. Abati, the issue of being deputy is a sinecure, actually. It's a sinecure in our constitution. You do what your principal tells you to do.
It's a spare tire position.
Yes.
But let me ask you about this illegality of the House of Assembly appointing caretaker chairmen, caretaker overseers for local governments in Ondo State.
Illegality.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure.
It doesn't fall within their purview.
No.
And the constitution does not even talk about caretakers. It talks about proper local government elections.
Yeah, proper, but in the past, you know, in various parts of Nigeria, there has been interim local government chairmen, secretaries, vice chairmen, while they plan to conduct elections. So these people will probably be in position for another 6 months, pending the time the proper election will take place. I don't know the legal stuff, but we have started this in August. What happened now is just for them to fill the place, because we created new LCDAs and we want seamless administration to take place. So they are appointed as in acting capacity and they can resume. So I don't think there's any illegality about that. They are in acting capacity.
Well, but there's a High Court matter, the High Court of Akure, over this matter, people challenging even the creation of the LCDAs.
Yeah,
I'm sure you are aware of that.
I'm aware of that. I will see how that goes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bamidele Ademola-Olateju.
Thank you so much for having me.
Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Ondo State.